Hi everyone, I'm Jim and welcome to review of The Mediator Between Head and Hands Must Be the Heart, the 13th record by the Brazilian band Sepultura or Sepultura, depending on from where you are. Today we have a special guest, it's Dutch and ZFK. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing amazing. I'm really excited to review this Sepultura record.
So how did you find out about this band?
That is a great question. I don't even remember. If you hang around metalheads for like a long enough time, you will hear this band, You will hear the name of Sepultura. And it was around the same time that this record was released. And thus this is also the first record that I heard by them.
So because this was the first record you've heard from them, you must have nostalgia for it.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when the single Age of the Atheist came out. And I loved it. Oh no, I remember now how I found out about this band. My brother was talking about them because he heard the song. They were playing in a festival in Germany that my brother was attending. And he was like, oh, you should check out this band. And so the first song I heard was Convicted in Life. Then it was Who Must Die. And then this album came out and I heard the single Age of the Atheist and so on.
My story with this band is actually quite simple. I've already reviewed some of their records like Chaos AD, so go check that out if you want. Basically, my siblings were massive fans of this band and they had all of their records on cassette tapes. I think there might be some of them even upstairs to this day. Like, I remember listening to Roots and Arise back in 2001 or even 0, and I've always loved this band. Not much the Derek Green era, but I do enjoy it. So we have some interesting fun facts about this record. It's the first one with the drummer Eli Casagrande, and also the first one recorded in United States since Against. When it comes to the lyrics, it's basically a concept record based on the movie Metropolis from 1927, and also is the first record produced by Russ Robinson since Roots, that came out in 1996. When it comes to the lineup, we've got Derek Green on the vocals, he also does some percussion on the final track. We've got Andreas Kisser on the guitars, backing vocals, he sings on the final song. He kinda sounds like the dude from The Prodigy who died, rest in peace. He has those kinds of vocals, did you notice?
No, actually it didn't come to mind at all.
Because I was listening to it and I'm like, is this Firestarter by The Prodigy? That was the first thing that popped to my head. Then we've got Paulo Jr. on the bass. I wonder what Paulo Sr. is doing. And the new drummer, Eli. So what do you think about the production here?
It's a breath of fresh air compared to other metal records. There are no triggered drums. Everything sounds organic. I think the drums were recorded on tape. The whole album was being put on tape. So it was scored analog. That's really cool.
I think that the production is tight. I love that it has the real life feeling to it. As you said, it was on the tape. That's actually what Russ Robinson always does. He always records this way. I don't think he ever done it differently. Maybe you recall that?
The only thing I know is that with the first Slipknot album, they wanted to do it in Pro Tools, but Russ Robinson didn't trust it, so they recorded everything on tape and then they recorded the tape into Pro Tools.
That's a weird thing to do.
Yeah, but that's what I read back in the day.
I wonder if since this record was released, he ever done anything without the tape. I don't think so, because I follow him on Instagram and he always posts about the tapes and how he made the old school records.
Maybe Iowa was in Pro Tools?
I don't think that, because it has a very chaotic feeling to it, and I remember reading that they were basically in the studio. Russ was on the wheelchair because of a ski accident, and he was like whipping them while they were recording or some shit. So I don't think it was in Pro Tools. I think it was made with blood and tears.
Yeah, okay, that counts.
Did you know that?
I recall him having a ski accident. I just didn't know about the whipping. I know Corey Taylor was cutting himself and recording the title track Like being all naked and shit.
Yeah, he vomited on himself, and also I remember that he took the flowers with pots and he would break them on Jory's head while he was recording the Heretic Anthem, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I was like, Russ Robinson is a great guy, but I don't want to record music with him.
He's a fucking maniac.
I wonder what he had done to Sepultura on this record. Did he he made Derek record the vocals in the toilet? You are not going to leave the toilet.
Eating his own shit.
Gigi Allen? Not today.
Gigi Robinson.
Good game. Good game. Going back to the production, I love the drum sound and also the guitars. Did you notice that there is bass, but it's not that prevalent, like it's not up the front that much?
I agree with you that the bass isn't really prevalent in the mix, but it's also not absent to the degree that you can't hear it at all.
Yeah, I agree. This is not injustice for all, so let's chill out.
Yeah.
Going back to the message is diverse, the songs are about various topics. I remember that they talk about war, the church, how it's fake basically. We have some songs about diseases, disasters, atheism, anti-religion. What else?
Grief.
Yeah, the songs are about grief and being obsessed. We also have a song about tsunami, I don't know if you know that. There's one song where there's an impending doom coming. I don't know if you've heard about it.
There's also one about a llama.
Like, I have no idea what the 10th song is about, but now I will think, yeah, it's about a lamp, and they've ate it. Nice! Moving on to the structure, it's between basic and advanced. Some songs follow that formula of intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro, and some of them add a lot of segments in between, especially in the middle of the songs, like for example, The Bliss of Ignorance.
Well, the genres are mainly, I'd say, thrash metal and with slight hints of death metal in between the songs.
And also some groove elements here and there.
There's more death metal than groove, but yeah, for sure.
Starting with the first song, Trauma of War, the first thing you're going to notice here is the drumming. What do you think about it in context of the entire record? Is the drummer talented? I feel like he's a breath of fresh air, like he brings so much intensity to his playing. The blast beat sections, the double bass work, it all shines through. His playing is tight, it's technical, it enriches the sound of the songs. Like, the songs aren't boring because the drum elements are very interesting.
Yeah, I think the drummer is very talented, and I like the material with him more than the previous drummer. He can switch from more easier sections to complex sections, and it doesn't sound like he's keeping up, like he's really well versed with his instrument. And it shows in this whole record.
Then we've got the bass work. As we stated before, it's audible when it needs to be.
For me, it was a typical thrash metal bass part, you know. Nothing special, it carried the song.
I must say that you might be forgetting about the tracks like The Bliss of Ignorance, which had a slight nu metal, old school nu metal atmosphere, because you had bass lines that were very similar to Life is Peachy era, and also the guitars would like stop there or do eerie guitar melodies. So I actually forgot to talk about it, like this record has some very slight old school new influences, like on the guitar riffs, you know, the dissonant chords. Like, you don't have dissonant chords in thrash metal. In death metal also it's not that popular, like in the dissonant death metal genre, sure, but in the standard one, nope. So I feel that. What do you think about it? It's only in like 2 or 3 songs, it's not like in every track, but it's on The Bliss of Ignorance, because that's the stuff I remember from this song.
Yeah, it slipped my mind, and it's true. And there's also one song here that also even has a little bit of a nu metal jump the fuck up kind of riff that I really enjoyed. I think it was The Bliss of Ignorance as well.
Next we have the guitar work. I feel that it's mostly a mix of thrash and death metal stuff. but also some of the parts, like in the track Manipulation of Tragedy and The Bliss of Ignorance, it has that nu metal and groove metal aesthetic to it, you know, that jump the fuck up attitude. Love it.
Nothing to add. I think the exact same thing.
And finally you have the vocals by Derek. What do you think about him, like in context of the entire band? Do you think he's better than Max or not?
I think he's better. He sounds a lot more brutal. For example, in the break of Age of the Atheist, when there's not a lot of instrumentation, but his voice really carries that part because it sounds furious, like he's really angry.
I agree with the part that his vocals on this record are furious, like compared to the previous records, like on Against he sounds like a child compared to here. Like I love when he screams his lungs out on some of the tracks, like it gives you so much energy. I don't know if I would call him a better vocalist, because I remember the first records with him and on them the vocals were actually the worst part for me, like. But he grew, he's way better now than he was before. That's at least my opinion. And also, let's talk about Andreas Kisser and his vocals in the 10th track, where he sounds like Flint from The Prodigy.
Yeah, according to you, it sounds like that. I didn't hear it. I enjoyed them, but it's also because the song fit the vocals.
Yeah, they had more of a punk vibe to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So going back to Trauma of War, what did you think about this song?
It's a banger of a song. I did find the intro to be a bit too long, but that suspense also worked well when the actual song began with the death metal influences. Derek sounds angry, he sounds pissed off. I'm here for it. 8 out of 10.
I also think that this song is a great start to the album, but I feel like it's a little bit generic. Like, I don't know if you listen to a lot of thrash and death metal music, but I sadly have. A lot of songs sound exactly like this one, like this is nothing new. It's just a competent thrash and death metal song, like there is nothing new about it. Also, I don't know if you have noticed, but this one doesn't have those tribal elements like some of the other songs have. 7 out of 10. Moving on to the Vatican. It features an intro composed by Renato Zanuto, however you pronounce that. I enjoy this song. To me, it's on the same level as the previous track. This one has much more interesting instrumental work, I think. Like, the intro is fun. It has orchestra. Then we've got some cool tremolo guitar riffs in the pre-chorus or chorus section. I don't know which one it is, but
I think it's the pre-chorus that you're talking about.
Besides that, this song is nothing special, but I do love the lyrical content. Like, I will always enjoy songs that are against pedophilia and Catholic Church. That's to be expected. Yeah, the structure here is much more advanced because, as you stated, like, we have lots of pre-choruses, choruses, lots of changes. I just love that tremolo riff the most, and the drumming was phenomenal, same as the vocals. 7 out of 10.
For me, also 7 out of 10.
Next song, Impending Doom. Not to be confused with the German band and the American deathcore band. Both great ones, go check them out. This track is a banger. While the structure is much more basic, I don't know if you have noticed, but this one has much more groove. The tempo is slower and the breakdown in the middle, wow, just wow. Those guitar riffs go so hard. Like, this song is memorable, it has amazing vocals, guitars, the drumming, just everything. I have nothing to criticize here. Love this one so much, 10 out of 10.
Definitely a slower song. The drumming really made me keep my focus to this track. Same with the guitars that come into between, like Derek sounds pissed off. I love his vocal performance throughout this entire album. But for me, it's a 7 out of 10.
Okay, moving on to Manipulation of Tragedy. Now this one, I love it just as much as the previous song. It has more tribal elements than the previous tracks, like in the middle and at the end, in the outro. What I love about this one is the main guitar riff, because it's so death metalish, but also it retains the groove. Yet again, the tempo shifts between very fast and slightly slower. So I love this one with all of my heart. Everything is perfect here. 10 out of 10.
It's a song where the drum and the bass shines. Like we were talking about the bass not always being very audible. It is audible. in this track, and it plays along amazingly with the drums. The guitars, I didn't pay much attention to them because I was really focused on the drums and the bass, because I love the rhythm here. The vocals here are good. 9 out of 10, baby.
I also want to add one more thing. When it comes to the main guitar riff, it's repetitive, but I don't know if you've noticed because you did not pay attention to the guitar riffs at all, but when it comes back at the end, it's the same riff, but it's played lower than before. I love when the good guitar riff comes back differently, so you can enjoy it in a different way. I do it in my own music all the time. Like if I enjoy a riff, I will probably play it like groovy, and then it will come back but as a tremolo piece, so it's like slightly different but still the same, and I enjoy both of the variations. I just wanted people to hear both of them, and you can choose which one is better, or if you enjoy both or none. That's just it.
Tsunami. This song is slower than the other ones. I think you will agree on that. There are not a lot of fresh influences. I don't know exactly what kind of metal this falls under, but it sounds really chaotic.
I don't know if you noticed that the middle part has much more groovy part and it's much more melodic. Like it reminds me of Roots era because of the beautiful guitar solo. Like there's less chaos here in the middle, and after that part they go back right to it.
Yeah, it's like to give you a little bit of a breather in the middle, only to kick you right back in. It's a perfect pit song in that sense. I will give this track an 8 out of 10.
Me too, 8 out of 10.
The Bliss of Ignorance. I love how this song starts with the drumming, where Eloy Casagrande shines once again. The dissonant, it's not really dissonant, but it's a kind of new metal vibe that they got going on the guitars in the back of the drums.
What do you think about the bass? Because it leads the song for a little bit. I love it, like it has that nu metal vibe.
I love that too about the bass. And around 1 minute 30, I noted that. It's where you hear the drums again, little bit of tribal. It's one of the songs where, even though it breaks up the previous songs in the track list, it still fits in really nicely. Not as high energy. Derek Green sounds furious once again. For me, 8 out of 10.
So this is my favorite song on the record by far because of its experimental nature, the fact that it has lots of tempo changes, and yeah, I just love this atmosphere. I love that they would record more tracks like this one, because it's like a slight return to the old school stuff from Roots, and also you can feel that Russ Robinson helped them write this one. 10 out of 10.
On to the next one, Grief. The typical song that you put in the middle or the middle end of the record. There's not a lot going on in the start.
It's a very slow start, I would say. It's like doom metal-y.
Yeah, I'd say the last minute and a half, Derek Green starts screaming. Like you can feel his pain almost, like his grief as the song.
Yeah, and also the intro is the same as the outro, like it's the same melody.
Yeah, would I play this song on its own? No, but in context of this record, I do really like it. So for me it's a 7 out of 10.
I agree, it gives you a space to breathe after the more heavier tracks. On its own, as you said, I guess I wouldn't listen to it, but it works on the record, 7 out of 10.
Track number 8, Age of the Atheist. The song that made me want to start listening to this record. I know this song back and forth. It's really good. It has like the fresh influence. It has that amazing break in the middle where Derek is screaming and the drums kicking in every now and then. I don't know if you agree, but it is very different from the rest of this album. Not very different, but it has a different sound.
Like, I think it's the reason because they might have recorded it before the album. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but it was released like months before the album, so maybe that's the reason.
That could be. On that note, I will give this song a 10 out of 10.
Nice, finally a 10 out of 10 from you. It's not my favorite song on the record, but I agree with that middle part, it's fantastic. The thrash parts, well, they're just fine. I'm just not a big fan of thrash metal, but it doesn't bother me. This is a banger, everyone should listen to this one. 8 out of 10. Next we have Obsessed, it features Dave Lombardo. You might know him, he was the drummer of Slayer, but also Suicidal Tendencies, and 20 other bands. I love this song. The percussive elements are the best. Derek is killing it here with his screaming. The guitars, if I have to be honest, I feel like they were the weakest part. Like, I didn't pay attention to them that much, but I feel like this is one of the highlights of this record because of its experimental nature and just the overall vibe. 9 out of 10.
I don't know if you've seen the making of DVD, but there is a part in where Eloy Casagrande and Dave Lombardo are drumming in front of each other, like feeding off each other's energy, and I feel that the same is going on in this song. Because the drumming is furious. It reminds me of death metal, you know, the fast kicks, the guitar playing, the riffing. Derek Green's vocals, they don't shine as much. It's mostly a track where the drummers Eloy and Dave shine. And because I love drums, this track gets an 8 out of 10. The Lama Au Chaos. It's a Chico Science and Nassau Zombie cover with music by Science.
Zombie, blow them away. Sorry. I just felt that my soul started to fly. It's weird. But I'm back.
Okay, you're back. This is a song on which Andreas is singing in Portuguese. It has a very punkish vibe, like you said earlier. Also, apparently, it sounds a little bit like The Prodigy.
Did you listen to the original one?
I listened to the song on this record only.
You should check out the covers always, because when I review covers I listen to the original ones, and I must say that this one is much more heavier than the original song, but I feel like the vocals on the original one were slightly better. Not to criticize Andreas that much. I mean, Max Cavalera does that every day. Sorry.
The middle part again with the solo, it's very non-freshy. It's not death metal like in some parts.
It has that punk influence overall.
Yeah, which I love. I love hardcore punk music. It's also a 10 out of 10 for me.
For me, it's a good song. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not a big fan of this type of a thing, but it's a breath of fresh air. It's a nice ending to this record. Like, this is a song that does not sound like anything that was previously on the album, so I am sure that many people were surprised by it. I also watched the music video before the review, and I saw lots of hateful comments, like, people hate this song.
You know what? We both have takes on music that people find unpopular or shitty, so I don't even care.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that sometimes the society hates something and I just don't understand it, because it's good. I mean, I get it. You want another Beneath the Remains record every 2 years. I don't want that. I want a Roots record every 2 years. They will also never give me that, but I don't cry about it. 7 out of 10.
That brings us to a bonus track, Second State of Affairs. Did you listen to this one? My copy didn't have this song, so I can't comment on it. Same for the Zombie Ritual.
I must say that you would love this one. This one has that thrashy and death metalish atmosphere to it. Also, the percussive elements return in the bridge, and there is much groove here. I am actually quite surprised that this song didn't make the cut on the record. Like, it's slightly similar to the 80s track, so I wish it was on the record, like maybe instead of the first song, because that one was probably the weakest one to me. It was great, don't get me wrong, but this one has much more groove and style to it. So 8 out of 10. And the final bonus track, Zombie Ritual, it's a death cover. I love the production here, like, because the original song was from 1987 or 88, I think, and well, the production there, it didn't have that much punch and anger in it. Here, the vocals slap, same as the music. I love hearing Chuck Schuldiner guitar riffs, they have that cool vibe to them. I don't know what kind of guitar scale is that, I never remember that, but I have noticed that many bands do not use it. Like, I have to dig through the technical death metal bands to find the ones that utilize those kinds of melodies, and it annoys me because music needs that stuff and there's not much of it. So yeah, love this one. It's as good as the original song. 8 out of 10.
What did you think about the consistency of this album?
I think it was stable, there wasn't any song that I would skip or not enjoy.
For me, it's the same. On my first listen, after a couple of years, I told you, it felt like some tracks would just be blending into the other one. On my second listen, it didn't feel like that at all. I grew to really like it, and I'm going to return back to it when I'm in the gym.
I feel like to actually enjoy some music you have to listen to it more than once or even 10 times, because some records sound amazing after the first listening to, but after a while they get boring or stale or you just don't enjoy them. It's weird, like I have that with Deftones' Ohms record. I loved it when it was released and I was like, this is the best Deftones record since White Pony, or it's even better than White Pony. And now I'm like, it's still great, but I don't feel like that anymore because I've listened to it like 40 times and it lost the magic. And with the Mediator, it's the other way around. When I first heard it, I was like, did Russ Robinson really did this? It's just fine. But after listening to it a couple of times, it just grows on you. When it comes to the flow, I feel that it's fitting, like you don't want to remove any of the tracks, it flows well. The only flaw, I guess, is the long intro in Trauma of War. Like you said, it was a little bit too long, and that's it.
I agree with that completely.
When it comes to replayability, yeah, it's a great record. I enjoy listening to it from beginning to the end. For me, the highlights are The Bliss of Ignorance, Manipulation of Tragedy, Impending Doom, The Age of the Atheist, Stagnate State of Affairs, Dilemma, a Chaos. Also Obsessed, I forget about that one. What about you?
I will keep coming back to The Age of the Atheist, Obsessed, The Llama of Chaos, Manipulation of Tragedy, and the other songs that will be in my rotation when I go to the gym, because they're really, high energy, they give you energy. So yeah, definitely a real listen. My rating for this record is a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice, so that's all from us. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram. Subscribe to Dutch MZFK channel also. He uploads lots of underground music there. And we will see you next time. Also consider becoming a member on my channel so I can make you an album review and maybe a Doom MIDI cover. That's all.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to this review. And I wish you all a good night.
Bye.
Bye.